We have royalty, entertainer, and navigator coming through. This is very much coming through like era of Columbus type time. This is somebody that knew how much of the coffers that they would need in order to get their adventure funded by whoever had the funds. You traveled to a lot of islands. I don't think you were traveling with Columbus, but I think you traveled by sea to a lot of islands. And you definitely knew how to tell the story of the adventure coming back. You were early explorer. Anything else? These archetypes. Your father was a sailor. You were a sailor. You both went sailing. Early explorer, early explorer. I think you said goodbye to your dad a lot as he went when you were really young. But then you went and, like, it wasn't very long before you were taking up the adventure as well. Your dad would navigate by a certain level of the compass. He would navigate and he would go down south for the season. When it was cold up north, he would go down south. He would know and pay attention to the stars, to the sky, and know and navigate by the light where the sunlight was, and he would travel west to do so. He was more towards traveling west than anything else. He would travel south and southwest by sea. Why is he doing this? I have no idea, because that's what he does. Now, so you're going on this ship with him in this specific moment. This very scissored energy of time.
Geoff said sailor in this life too.
Oh God, of course. The 10 of Wands and the 4 of Swords. These are, well, this is what the cards say, but the tarot doesn't read tarot in past life land. It's like once something has been circumnavigated fully and well and truly around the world, at least once is what it feels like. So whatever it is, whenever you've made this journey once or twice with him, when your dad feels like, yeah, you've done this, circumnavigate is the word that I'm getting here. Once you've done this a couple of times, then he's like, okay, then he's going to release it to you. Then it's in your hands. So the ball is in your court. The ball is in your hand. You've got the ball. Your turn. You take it on. It's like you would have his ship. You would have his vessel. You would have inherited everything. And he was very pleased with this for you. Now, were you concerned at all about any kind of relationship? Like romance, family, anything like that? Not for a long time. Not for a long, long time. You had some good mates that you went with. Good mates could be anything. I'm meaning shipmates, good sailing mates that you went with for 5 years, this crew. You went out boldly exploring, doing your thing. And this is a younger version. It's like your dad and his crew, well, they had kids and they came up together with you. And you guys would go out sailing together. And sometimes there was chaos and arguing on the ship, but who cares? That's how it would be. You guys would be out there doing it. You had the strength to make a good living doing this. I don't know what you actually sold. I think you carried goods. I think you weren't so much going and raiding lands and getting this. You were in the transport industry. You would transport goods from person A to person B. You would carry the goods. You'd make plans, think things through. It'd be challenging. Sometimes it would be really challenging. Sometimes there was a few losses that went really badly. It seems to me that there's something in here where it's like the loss that went badly almost feels like something went to rot. Something went overboard, or something had to go overboard, like you had to ditch something that was not good. Is that some sort of Blackadoo food item? Yes. And the choice is the higher wisdom. You had to ditch it, whatever it was. There was some kind of bad food that you had to get rid of. I don't know why, but you knew that that's what you needed to do, so you did it. That was a little bit of a rough spell while you were out there doing your thing. Anything else? You lost a lot of weight doing that in that particular time frame. You lost like 30, 40 pounds. It had you looking rather sickly, not because you were throwing up or had dysentery, but because then everything else was really, really sparse and scarce. So you worried about rations. You worried about how much everybody would have to eat. Your eyes got a little bit more sunken. You got a little too skinny bones for your own good. You worried. This is when you started to think about the idea of settling down and being on land a little bit more. You had other siblings that had settled down. I think you were the oldest of your siblings. That's why you were taught the trade. It's why you inherit the boat, the family business, the sailing thing. You were the oldest of those kids, but the other kids have settled down and now have families of their own. It was viewed differently back then. You have 3 great loves before you settle down. 3 great loves. The third one, she's older. It's almost like you've missed your opportunity. She's not older by our standards. She's older by that standard. So how old would she have been? Maybe mid-20s before you settled down with this one. She's older by that standard. You do. You get married at that particular time. This third one that's older, that's in her 20s, you have like the love of your early youth, the love of getting older, and then the love that you settle down with and have kids with her. There's happiness with her for quite some time. She saw you in the lean years, and she was actually quite worried and concerned for you. When you came back from this one trip where you looked really, really lean, she was worried that she would miss her chance with you. She was worried you would die. I think she worried she would miss her opportunity completely. Yeah. She made her case very strongly. She made herself known very, very strongly. She was a little bit more aggressive in presenting herself to you. And it took work. It took back and forth, going a lot of travel distance for her. It's like you would keep running into her, not on accident. You might have thought it at the time, but she totally devised this. Yeah. She held her ground. She knew what she wanted. She had seen you when you were burlier. Like, we got the gaunt king type of look. Look at the eyes and the bone structure here. And then look at this beefy guy. She had seen you when you were beefy, and she'd seen you when you were lean. And she's like, when you're lean, I'm not going to miss my chance with this one. I know this is the one I want. It's like she decided. Like you barely had a say in this. Because when she crossed your path and kept coming across your path, coming across your path, it's like you were subtly, or not so subtly, enamored. Just like, oh, who is that? Oh, I've seen you before. Yeah. She chose you. You didn't know about her at first. She chose you. And then, of course, you had to choose her. But anything else going on with this? Oh, the Bane, you just had daughters. You were a little bit bummed that you couldn't have a sailor girl, a sailor son, so you had a sailor girl. Oh, the Bane, you just had daughters. You took the daughter to sea with you for a little while with the mom. The oldest daughter was able to go for a while with you to sea, but you had to be careful. Just the gender created havoc a little bit. She went home shortly after. It wasn't the end of the world, but it's just like you couldn't pass this down. Now what? You continue the working. There's other skills that have to be mastered and learned if you're going to master trade. If you're going to be a master of being a merchant or a tradesman or doing trade, you're teaching her how to do numbers. You're teaching her and the wife how to do the numbers, how to run the books, how to do things. Now, the wife knows a lot about running the books anyway, but you're making sure that you can pass this on, passing on the connections of the network. That's kind of a trip. Why are you doing that? Like, so she would know this port is good for this. This is where you get this kind of thing. Because you knew that because of her gender, people would try and take advantage, try and do a bad negotiation, a bad trade with her, and you wanted her to have the option to say, no, fuck you, no. You wanted her to have the option to say no. You felt your time coming to a short and quick ending. It's like you felt something going on with your health that was not so great. You needed things set up before you passed away. And you needed it clear. You needed it clear in her mind. You needed it clear in the wife's mind that things would be handled in such a way, blah, 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 to give them leverage, to give them power. This is after you died. The wife reflects back. She thinks of the moments in the navigating. She thinks of this in particular season where you went with the daughter and the wife on the boat and it was a good season. She thinks of that. She thinks of that often. And she thinks of when you pass. She wants that kind of happiness for her daughter again, where there's peacefulness, happiness, and happiness for her going forward to the next generation. Big love comes that way. There is fighting. There is quarreling. It works out because she's the golden child. The daughter is the golden child. The daughter is like got everything coming for her in such a good way. The things that you share, the knowledge you share and impart and you leave to the wife and the daughter really does serve them well. They celebrate even though there's sorrow. They celebrate. And they go forward. Your grandson becomes a sailor. Very interesting. Yeah. It's like they become the merchants, but there has been sorrow. And they celebrate these female merchants that know about the sailing, know about the ports, know about the trades. It would be like knowing about where the good fishing hole is, or knowing where you go and get the best of XYZ fruit at what season. They know your trade routes, your particular shipping lanes, or wherever it is that you go to. They know it. And they teach it, and it goes down. It gets passed down. It's something that's really, really adored. They loved it. You set them up so good. King of Cups comes in. There's a reverence, and the grandson is named after you. The name. Yeah, that's where it ends. The Hangman is giving me the stop. It's complete, but this is where it is. The limbo went this way, and it's like if you could glimpse in on your grandson, if he was out at sea, you would have glimpsed in and helped him navigate. Because they would have had the information. They would have passed it, and you would have been there helping guide. What a trip. That's what I got. That's complete. Wow. Yeah. There you have it. You just never know where these are going to go. Which is half the fun, half the adventure. It's like, I have no idea. No idea. But that's what it's about.